In a world full of talent shows and flashing lights, there are moments that go far beyond entertainment. Moments that remind us of what it truly means to feel. Tonight, we bring you one such story, a story that melted the hearts of millions, and even brought Simon Cowell to tears. Welcome back to our channel, where real emotions meet unforgettable performances. Stay till the end, because this one will leave you speechless. It was a bright summer evening in Los Angeles. The crowd inside the America's Got Talent theater was buzzing with excitement, waiting for the next act. The stage lights glowed softly as a tall, nervous Filipino teenager stepped out from behind the curtain. He couldn't have been more than 16 or 17, dressed in a faded white shirt and a pair of worn jeans. His name was Miguel Santos, a name that, until that night, no one had ever heard before. Miguel walked across the stage slowly, his heart pounding like a drum. The huge audience, the towering judge's desk, the bright spotlights, everything seemed too big for a boy who came from such a small world. Simon Cowell leaned forward, studying him. Sofia Vergara smiled kindly, Heidi Klum gave him an encouraging nod, and Howie Mandel, always the joker, raised his eyebrows playfully. Simon spoke first, his voice calm but direct. "Hello, what's your name, and where are you from?" Miguel took a shaky breath and spoke softly into the microphone. "My name is Miguel Santos, sir. I'm from the Philippines." The crowd cheered when he said that, waving flags, clapping, shouting his name. Miguel smiled shyly, a tear almost forming in his eye. "And how old are you?" Simon asked. 17. "And what are you going to do for us tonight?" "I'm going to sing a song, sir," he said. "A song I wrote, for my mother." There was silence, the kind of silence that means everyone in the room feels something, even before the music begins. Simon tilted his head. "You wrote it yourself?" Miguel nodded. "Yes, I lost my mom 2 years ago. She used to tell me to keep singing, no matter how hard life gets. So tonight, I just want to make her proud." You could hear the collective sigh of the audience. Sophia covered her mouth, already emotional. Heidi whispered something to Howie, and even Simon looked down for a moment before nodding gently. "All right, Miguel," Simon said quietly. "Whenever you're ready." Miguel stepped to the center of the stage. The lights dimmed, a single piano note echoed through the hall. His hands trembled as he gripped the microphone. He closed his eyes and began to sing. His voice was soft at first, fragile, trembling, like a whisper of pain carried on the wind. The lyrics spoke of love, of loss, of a mother's touch fading away, and a boy who still sings to the sky, hoping she can hear him. "My heart still calls your name in the dark. Through every storm, through every scar. I see your smile, it lights the stars. Oh mama, I'm still your boy from afar." The crowd was frozen, no one moved. Every note he sang carried years of struggle and longing. His tone was pure, yet full of cracks that told stories words couldn't. The cameras zoomed in on his face, the tears forming in his eyes, the trembling lips, the raw honesty that came from a soul that had seen too much pain for his age. Simon's eyes softened. He leaned back in his chair, blinking faster than usual. Heidi was already wiping her eyes. Sophia placed a hand on her heart, whispering, "Oh my God," under her breath. As the song reached its chorus, Miguel's voice grew stronger, like the spirit of his mother was lifting him higher. "I'll sing until I see you again. Until the world fades and love remains. Every note is your embrace. Every tear becomes your name." The entire theater was silent except for his voice. It felt like time had stopped. Some people in the audience were crying openly. A woman in the front row clutched her chest. A man beside her removed his hat in respect. Then came the final line, sung almost in a whisper. "I hope you hear me, Mama, from heaven tonight." As his last word echoed, the crowd erupted. The entire hall rose to its feet. Thunderous applause filled the room. People were shouting, whistling, crying. Miguel stood frozen, overwhelmed. Tears streamed down his face as he covered his mouth in disbelief. Simon Cowell stood up slowly. The camera zoomed in, his eyes were red. The man who had seen thousands of performances, who had judged stars from every corner of the world, had tears rolling down his cheek. He clapped his hands together and shook his head, speechless. After a long moment, Simon finally spoke. His voice cracked slightly. "Miguel, I've been doing this for a very long time. I've heard some incredible singers, but what you just did, that wasn't just singing. That was pure love." The audience cheered even louder. Simon continued, "You didn't just perform, you shared your heart. That song, it touched every single person here. Including me. Miguel tried to speak but couldn't. His voice broke. All he could say was, "Thank you, sir." Sophia was next. "Miguel," she said with teary eyes, "I have a son, and while you were singing, I imagined him singing to me one day like that. You made every mother in this room cry. You're a star, sweetheart." Heidi added softly, "You have a gift that goes beyond talent. You remind us why music exists, to heal hearts." Howie smiled warmly. "That's the power of honesty, Miguel. You didn't come here to impress us. You came here to tell your truth. And that's why we all felt it." The crowd started chanting, "Golden buzzer. Golden buzzer." The chant grew louder and louder until Simon raised his hand for silence. He looked down, deep in thought. Then he smiled, tears still glistening in his eyes. "Miguel," he said, "your mother would be so proud of you right now." He reached forward and slammed his hand down on the golden buzzer. The audience exploded. Gold confetti rained down from the ceiling. Miguel fell to his knees, sobbing uncontrollably. He looked up at the ceiling, whispering, "This is for you, Mama." Simon walked up to the stage, something he rarely did. He hugged Miguel tightly, whispering something in his ear that only they could hear. Miguel nodded, crying into Simon's shoulder. The other judges joined him, surrounding the boy in a moment of pure emotion that no one in that theater would ever forget. Backstage, his story unfolded piece by piece. Miguel had grown up in a small fishing village in Cebu. His mother worked as a laundry woman, often skipping meals just to make sure he could eat. She loved music, even though she never had the chance to sing on a stage. When she got sick, Miguel started singing for her every night, using music to ease her pain. But when she passed away, he stopped singing completely, until one day, a teacher heard him humming and convinced him to audition for AGT. Miguel didn't have money for the trip, so the people from his village pooled together whatever they could. Fishermen, shopkeepers, even schoolchildren donated coins. One man even sold his old guitar so Miguel could afford the flight. When he arrived in Los Angeles, he was carrying not just his mother's memory, but the hopes of an entire village. The performance went viral within hours. The official AGT YouTube channel posted the video titled, "Filipino Teen Song Makes Simon Cowell Cry," and within 24 hours, it had over 10 million views. Comment sections were flooded with people from around the world saying how the song touched their hearts. Viewers from the Philippines, America, Europe, all united in tears and admiration for the young boy who sang his soul out. Celebrities reposted the video. News outlets called it, "the most emotional AGT performance ever." Even Simon Cowell tweeted, "Some performances remind you why we do this show. Miguel, you are unforgettable." In the following weeks, Miguel returned to the AGT stage for the semifinals. But this time, he wasn't just the shy boy from Cebu. He was confident, glowing with purpose. When Terry Crews introduced him, the audience erupted in cheers before he even sang a note. For his next performance, Miguel sang another original, one about hope and second chances. His voice soared, stronger than ever, but still filled with that same gentle ache. At the end of the song, the crowd chanted his name again. Simon smiled proudly, saying, "You didn't just win our hearts, Miguel. You healed them." Even though Miguel didn't win the competition that year, he became one of the most talked about contestants in AGT history. Record labels reached out to him. Music producers offered deals, but Miguel always said the same thing: "I just want to sing songs that make people feel less alone." Months later, he used part of his earnings to build a small music school in his village, named after his mother, Maria's song. There, he taught kids who couldn't afford lessons, just like he once couldn't. Videos of his classes went viral again, showing Miguel surrounded by smiling children, teaching them to believe in themselves. 1 year after his audition, AGT invited him back as a guest performer. When he stepped on stage again, the audience stood even before he started singing. Simon Cowell introduced him personally, saying, "There are some voices that change the show. There are some hearts that change the world." Miguel did both. This time, he sang a song dedicated to every mother watching, "Your Love Lives On." It was a tribute not just to his mother, but to all parents who never stop believing in their children. The entire hall glowed with lights as people waved their phones in the air. And when he hit that final note, even Simon had to stand again, smiling through tears. After the show, Simon spoke to Miguel backstage. "You know," Simon said, "people always think I'm this tough guy who never cries. But you proved me wrong, twice." Miguel laughed, wiping his eyes. "Thank you, sir. I just sing what I feel." Simon nodded. "Never lose that. The world needs singers like you." Miguel's story became a symbol of resilience. He was invited to perform in different countries, Japan, Canada, even the UK. Everywhere he went, he carried a small photo of his mother in his pocket. Before every show, he would look at it and whisper, "This one's for you." But behind all the fame and applause, Miguel stayed humble. He often said, "I didn't sing to become famous. I sang because I missed her." His honesty made people love him even more. Fans lined up for hours to meet him, often crying as they hugged him. Some shared stories of their own loss, and Miguel would always listen patiently, sometimes singing a few lines to comfort them. Years later, he returned to AGT as a guest judge for a special episode celebrating past golden buzzer moments. When he walked onto the stage, Simon stood and clapped, saying proudly, "This young man once made me cry. And I couldn't be happier that he's here tonight." Miguel smiled and replied, "I learned from the best." When they played a clip of his original audition, the one where he sang for his mother, the entire audience got emotional all over again. Simon looked at the big screen, shaking his head softly, whispering, "That night changed me." After the show, Simon admitted in an interview that Miguel's performance reminded him of his own late mother. "Sometimes," Simon said, "a song can reach places no words can. That boy did that for me." Miguel went on to release his first album, Letters to Heaven, which became a global success. Every song was dedicated to his mother and to anyone who had ever lost someone they loved. Critics praised it for its raw sincerity. Fans said his music felt like therapy. In one of his concerts in Manila, Miguel sang the same song that made Simon cry. Thousands of people sang along, tears streaming down their faces. When the song ended, he raised his eyes to the sky again and whispered, "I did it, Mama." As gold confetti filled the arena, just like that night on AGT, it was clear that Miguel's journey had come full circle. He had turned pain into purpose, sorrow into song, and loss into love. Back in Los Angeles, Simon Cowell often mentioned Miguel in interviews. "He reminded me," Simon said once, "that the most powerful performances don't come from perfection, they come from the heart." And that's what made Miguel's story timeless. Not because he had the best voice in the world, but because he had something rarer, a voice that told the truth. The truth that love never really dies. It just finds new ways to sing. So, whenever you hear someone say that talent shows are all about fame, remember Miguel Santos, the Filipino teen whose song made Simon Cowell cry, and whose heart made the world believe again. Thank you for watching this emotional story. If you believe that love can live forever through music, share this video with someone who needs hope today. Because sometimes, all it takes is one song, to remind us that we're never truly alone.